Our next speaker is Mr. Jozef Kačala from GFI, and let's see what GFI did on that segment in the last year and what are their plans for new one. So, Mr. Kačala, please join us.
Thank you very much, Nebojša.
Yeah, stage is yours.
Thank you all for being here and for joining us today. So, as Nebojša said, my name is Jozef. I came from GFI. I'm leading the sales engineering team worldwide. I'm originally from Slovakia, and I work in GFI for 5-6 years. And basically, my topic for today is to be an MSP with GFI. All right, I hope that you can hear me now. Right, so short agenda. So I will make an introduction of the company, who we are, what we do, what kind of solutions we have to offer. And after that, we'll be drilling into 3 independent solutions which we are seeing that are most used by the MSP partners we have worldwide. So who is GFI? So GFI was founded roughly in 1992. So we are basically on the market for last 30 years. And we have a suite of products. So these products could be basically divided into 3 main segments. So we have the cybersecurity segment, communication segment, and networking segment. So basically, if you will have a look on the portfolio as it is, then you will find the essential products for pretty much every company. Because you'll be able to find an email solution. So every company needs to have an email. That's #1 collaboration tool currently. And also you'll be able to find stuff like a firewall, which again is essential for every company from the security perspective, or archiving solutions or other. So I will drill down into a little bit more details into 3 solutions as I promised in the beginning. And in case that you are interested into knowing a bit more about Exenda or SD-WAN or Mail Essentials, then I'm more than happy to discuss all the details after the presentation. So worldwide, we have roughly 11,000, 12,000 partners who are selling our products, and besides, they are offering a lot of their services. So when we talk to our partners, then they are always telling us that the biggest advantage they have in offering their services, into selling the products, is that they have the needed expertise. A lot of our partners are, I don't want to say old, but they are on the market for 10, 12 years. So they are well established, and they are using the experience they have learned over the time. So one of the other benefits of our partners, which we know, is they are trusted in the market, right? So they are not the newbies, they are not new guys, they are there for years and years. They have hundreds and thousands of customers, and they are trusted, and they have relationships with those customers. So from that perspective, it's quite easy to make an upsell. So instead of selling them one product or one service, they can easily reach out and do a multi-sale with other products or other services. And services is exactly the next topic I want to discuss, because on this slide you can see a very common services which are provided by our partners, value-added resellers or MSP partners, to their customers. So the green services which you can see on the screen are, let's call them one-time service. So it's something like installation, right? You come to the customer, you deploy the product, take the money, you go away. So one-time effort, one-time service, one-time payment. The yellow ones are the services which are offered by our partners on a regular basis. So those are the most, I would say, valuable services from the partner perspective, because they are helping to have a recurring revenue, which brings more stability to the environment and to the business. So now, since you know what services the partners are offering, let's drill down into 3 products, as I promised in the beginning. Those 3 products are mostly used by our partners to deliver different kinds of services. The #1, which I'm going to share with you today, is carrier control. Carrier control is essential from the functional perspective for any business, because it's a firewall. So it's defending your environment, it's the edge at the edge of the network, and it's blocking all the threats coming from the outside. Carrier control is, again, a product which is out on the market for roughly 20 years. It's perfectly fitting SMB segment and SME segment. It has all the needed features which you would expect from the firewall. So intrusion prevention system, antivirus, application awareness, web filter, VPN server, load balancing, failover, DHCP, so all the things which you would expect. So why this could be used as a service? So what do you think? What could potentially be used with carrier control to deliver as a service if you are a partner? Anyone? All right, so one of the first thing is, of course, the installation, the deployment, which, as I mentioned previously, is a one-time effort. So you take the money only once, and probably you will come later on when there will be an exchange of the product or exchange of the box. But most of our partners, they are delivering configuration as a service. So they are constantly looking at the logs, looking at the configuration of the firewall, and adapting to the latest threat landscape. That is the number one. The number two is continual support. So a lot of customers, especially in the SMB segment, they don't have a dedicated person who is aware of what's happening, is 100% able to change all the settings and these things. So the MSP partners are creating users, enabling VPN connections, checking the statistics, creating new content filtering rules. So all of that things on a regular basis as a support. And of course, if there is a problem that you are experiencing, I don't know, a slowness in the network, then also they are investigating and solving that. So to fit better the MSP, carrier control has two ways how it could be licensed. So there is a year subscription and there is a monthly subscription. The main difference is that the year subscription, you will choose that, okay, I want to have 50 users for 1 year. You'll pay for 50 users, and that's maximum you can have. You'll pay for it, but there is nothing else. When you want to update, then obviously you need to do it an anniversary. And then the monthly subscription, this is exactly the way how the MSP's partners are using it. Because it's a very fluid, dynamic billing based on the peak usage in every single month. So you can deploy, for example, carrier control in a hotel as an MSP partner. So in a hotel, there could be a busy season in the summer or in the winter, and then could be slow season. So you are not going to pay the same amount of users in a slow season, right? That will be a waste of money. So you're only going to pay for the maximum users in a specific month. So in that case, this deployment could be also more cost effective because you are not going to pay for something you are not currently using. You are not currently using in a month. So what actually could be done? So you as a partner, you'll basically deploy the box. It could be our box or it could be a custom box, which you can, for example, purchase, I don't know, from Amazon, and you can deploy carrier control on it, which is used by a lot of our customers and a lot of our partners. And from that perspective, you as a partner, you will be monitoring the carrier control, you'll be managing carrier control, you'll be doing pretty much everything you are going to be asked from the customer. And we, as a GFI, as the vendor, will be counting the users. Based on that, the billing will be provided, and the information obviously will be shared with you as our partner. So the flexible deployment of the carrier control is one of the key advantages, which is very popular between our resellers, that they can literally deploy it, anywhere they like, or anywhere where it will meet the customer requirement. For example, from the port perspective, performance perspective, or stability when they need to have, I don't know, a dual power supply unit and this kind of stuff. So different requirements, different deployment scenario. So the next product I would like to show in a little bit more detail is called Carrier Connect. And Carrier Connect is a mail server. So as a mail server, again, the deployment flexibility is the key, because you can deploy it on premise, you can have it in your private cloud, you can host it, you can have it in a public cloud. So it's up to you where you're going to deploy it. And it's also up to you what kind of operating system you are going to use. You can deploy on Microsoft, you can deploy on Ubuntu, Debian, Red Hat, you can deploy on macOS. So the flexibility, again, is the key, because you have companies which are purely Mac. And when you are going to have a look on Mac mail systems, then you'll not find a lot of competitors out there. So the flexibility also helps our MSP partners to deliver Carrier Connect and use it as a service. As a mail server, it has all the needed features. So obviously you can send and receive emails, which is, I guess, quite logical. But then you can also do, calendars, contacts, chat, tasks, all these things that you would expect from a mail server to have. Then it also has embedded anti-spam and antivirus for the security purposes. In this case, we are collaborating with Bitdefender as a trusted antivirus vendor who is providing the engine. And there is a huge level of integration with other tools which you can deliver with use of Exchange Web Services, Exchange ActiveSync, CardDAV, CalDAV, POP3, IMAP, or our own Outlook integration, which is, I would say, one of the most popular way how users are using their mail with Outlook. Because Outlook, by far, is the most popular email client on the planet. I'm using Outlook as well, and I guess that majority of you are using Outlook, and if not, then probably you have been using Outlook at some level in the past. An essential feature for Carrier Connect, which is helping the partners to basically offer it as a service or host the email, is the multi-domain support. So you can have a single server or a multi-server and 1,000 domains easily. So our biggest MSP partner, who is Big Mountain Email, who is sitting in California, US, they have 35,000 domains, which they are hosting in their infrastructure. So they are very huge. So as mentioned previously, the Carrier Connect, from the MSP perspective, could be sold in two different ways. So you can offer really email as a service for a single domain or a single user or a bundle of users, or you can host the entire mail solution. From this perspective, I would say that there are two possibilities. One is that you are providing the cloud space, so you are providing the machinery for your customers, but they are managing their mail solution on their own. And it makes perfect sense from data security perspective, right? If there is something valuable for every single company, then it's for sure the data. And in emails, we are sharing basically everything, right? So it makes perfect sense to have 100% control about your mail solution, that you know where it is, what it stores, what's the retention policies, who has access, who can export the emails, and with such case, you can actually achieve that. So that's number one. The number two is that the partner, so you guys basically, are going to deploy the mail solution on your hardware, on your cloud, and you're going to manage purely the mail solution because the customer doesn't care. He doesn't want to manage on their own. They just want to use the email, and they want to own the mail solution, and they want to have the mail solution purely dedicated from themselves. So again, there are two different licensing scenarios. So the first one is the annual, so you pay by amount of users for a year, and there is the flexible one where you are paying for the active users in the specific month. So obviously, for the MSPs, the second scenario is fitting the most. So now we are going into the third product, and the third product is called the GFI LangGuard. So now we are going in a pure security segment. So GFI LangGuard, in a nutshell, it's a product which is delivering vulnerability scan, so it's able to detect all the weak spots in your network, is able to detect what operating systems are outdated, not fully patched, where open ports are present, which could be used, for example, by worms or by ransomware or by some other viruses. On that, it's also able to deliver a solution. Solution in this case for vulnerabilities is patch deployment. So LangGuard can instantly and automatically detect vulnerabilities and immediately patch them. So it can lower the response time. And the response time between vulnerability detected or existing and patch deployment could be very huge. So can you guys tell me what could be actually the time needed for an average user to deploy the patch? 7 months? You're actually close to reality. So yeah, it's taking a lot of time, and on average, an average company needs 110 days to deploy. So it's a lot. And if you think from the different perspective, you are giving to hackers 110 days to exploit the vulnerabilities which you know about or which are existing in a system, and at the same time there is a patch available. The fix is there. You are not just using the fix. So that's the generic problem of a lot of SMBs companies. And exactly that problem could be solved by MSP partners who have the needed expertise, who have the knowledge, the tools to detect and deliver the patch. Between the patch deployment and vulnerabilities, GFI Landguard is also able to deploy custom software. It's also able to detect what software applications are deployed on your endpoints, and also it's able to perform a hardware audit, so pretty much listing you every single hardware component which is making your computer your computer. And there is a building reporting, which is very, very popular, and it's helping you with certifications, with regulations. And exactly regulations is my next topic, because GFI Landguard as a tool for an MSP is able to gather a lot of information, which you can all see on this screen. So it can find about shares, running services, running processes, users groups, logged on users, network roles, vulnerability level, open TCP, UDP ports, if there is a disk encryption, antivirus software deployed, antivirus software up to date. So all of these things Landguard can detect for you. And you can use these things to deliver a cybersecurity audit. A cybersecurity audit as a service is not a new thing. But currently, with all these regulations which are out there, it's actually gaining popularity. So there are more and more MSP partners who are, delivering this as a service, coming to a company, deploying maybe agents or just doing some sort of tests, and evaluating every single solution, every single operating system and computer. And this is an example of a cybersecurity audit checklist, which you can see on the screen. And the blue checks are the ones which could be instantly delivered with the GFI Landguard as a MSP tool. So why is cybersecurity audit important, or where people can actually experience that? So have you ever heard about NIST2? Yeah, so what it is? What do you know about NIST2? Sorry? Okay. Yeah, so NIS2 is the latest regulations coming from the European Union, and it will be enforced on all the member states. The member states will do their own partial implementation. So right now, we do not really know in what extent will be NIS2 implemented on the individual member states. What we do know is that definitely they will be enforcing something, right? Because NIS2, comparing to the old GDPR, is in this case coming with a set framework of requirements, right? It's not exactly telling you that you need to implement the whole framework. It's telling you, it's suggesting you to implement the whole framework. But then it's up to the member states what they are going to do. Spain, for example, is already implementing NIS2 in their cybersecurity law, local cybersecurity law. And a thing which they are doing is that a product which will be used in a governmental segment needs to be certified. So in case that you are selling to government in Spain, you need to have a certification done by the government themselves. So this is how they are going to basically address NIS2, and it's coming with all the different cybersecurity solutions in Spain. So the framework, as you can see on the screen, is proposing that you will have a risk management, that you will have security policies, which pretty much can mean anything, right? It could be a firewall rule, it could be a content filtering rule, it could be an antivirus rule on the endpoint. They are not specifying deeply enough, but they are saying that you should have some sort of security policies. Then they are saying that you need to be able to handle the incidents, in case some incident will occur, and you need to have a prevention, detection, and response capability, which is XDR or MDR in the nutshell. There needs to be a supply chain security, which makes a perfect sense, because the whole essence of NIS2, why NIS2 was actually created, was to battle hackers who can bring the essential or important businesses in every single member state into a halt. So it's basically European Union trying to protect the business or the well-being of the member states and the economy, which makes perfect sense. Besides of that, there is a vulnerability handling and disclosure, regular assessment, and the use of cryptography and encryption where warranted. So if we go on a slide back, right, the cybersecurity audit, and back on the NIS2, then you can see regular assessment. That's basically where the cybersecurity audit could be offered to the customers as a service. So, as you probably guessed, NIS2 will apply on European Union, so basically on us all. But besides that, United Kingdom will follow. I know that they exited the European Union, but they feel very, very attached still. And I personally think that they will eventually come back to European Union. And then we have India. So India is also following the lead of European Union, and Australia also recently developed a thing, and they call it Essential 8. And in this case, they are not proposing, they are enforcing. So they copy-paste the NIS2, but they went one step ahead. So we heard about the products in GFI, which we have, also the services which partners are able to offer with our products, to use them as a tools. And we've deep dived into 3 individual products which are very powerful from the MSP perspective. Carrier Control, Firewall as a Service, Carrier Connect, Email as a Service, and GFI LangGuard, let's say, vulnerability as a service, vulnerability detection as a service, or cybersecurity audit as a service. And to be more effective as an MSP, those 3 products could be 100% controlled through our cloud platform, which is called the GFI App Manager. The GFI App Manager, our ultimate vision, is that that will be a go-to portal for our partners. So they will be managing the users, managing the renewals, licenses, accounts, everything from the single pane of glass console. Right now, they are able to control and manage the products, but as we speak, we are embedding GFI accounts into it, GFI help desk, and other stuff to basically empower the MSP partners to be more effective with the services they are offering. So the benefits, it's a cloud service. It has a central management for the products which we have, also including Carrier Control and Carrier Connect, which I explained. GFI LangGuard is currently being implemented. It's an open platform, so it has an SDK, so in case that you are using some sort of tool which you prefer for a certain tasks, then you can easily, through SDK, implement it or integrate into GFI Manager. It offers a very comprehensive monitoring based on which you have an alerting. So in case that something's wrong, then obviously the MSP partner needs to be the first one to know about a possible problem, and he needs to act based on the SLA you have agreed on with your customer. It is a multi-tenancy system, so you can have as many customers, as many clients as you want. And then there is a reporting tool, which is not, I would say, not a common reporting tool, because it's a value-added reporting tool. In this case, we have been focusing on you, our partners. So the report which the App Manager is providing you is the report which you can give to your customer to demonstrate instant value of your services. So basically to defend why your services are costing money or increasing and this kind of stuff. So, and on top of that, we have the XDR, which is also part of the GFI Manager. And the XDR system is taking advantage of the rich reporting and detection capabilities of our products. So Carrier Control, for example, is able to detect intrusions, connections, or scans. Carrier Connect can detect who's sending you spam, what are the new domains, what is the communication rate. GFI LangGuard can detect vulnerabilities, missing patches, open ports, and more. So you combine all this stuff together, you keep history and statistics and events, and based on that, you are able to spot on threats and anomalies. And Based on that, you can make a report, provide a report to an MSP or a customer, telling exactly what's going on and what could be the potential issue. And also there is a response, right? You can choose between automatic response and manual response. Manual response will be like, okay, I know what's going on, and I want to, for example, kill the connection and add the IP address into a GeoIP block list. Or an automatic response saying that, okay, there is a new domain which never communicated with me before. I never sent an email to that domain, and suddenly I received 100 emails coming from that domain. So that is for sure an anomaly, and the system can automatically add the domain into some sort of block list or content filter rule, or just into quarantine, right? So you can choose what will be the best action. But the main idea is to lower the response time, right? Because the response time, as we've talked, 7 months or 100 days for a patch deployment, that's just too much. And these days we can't really offer to have a response of such volume. So that was all from my end. I think I finished a bit earlier, which will make a few people happy. But thank you very much for listening. And in case that you have any questions at all about the products which I talked about, or products which we have in portfolio and I didn't mention, please let me know. And with my colleague Lenka, we are more than happy to discuss. Thank you.
Okay, it's always good to have a backup. So thank you, Jozef.